everyone, my name is Oakansa Alfred. Strive for impact, we always say. So last year we put out questions. We asked you guys to send questions, possible questions that you'd like me to attempt to answer. My opinion, I have to say. And yes, so this segment is an attempt at answering your questions on the different platforms. I intend for this to be our culture. Once a year we will do this, and hopefully more people will come in and actually pay for a consultation instead of actually waiting for the questions and getting free answers. So I'm gonna go ahead and attempt the questions. I'm gonna state who asked the question and the platform they asked the question on. So right, let's get right into it. Thabo Walter Mutswakwa Deeps on Facebook asks, how did it all start and when? Kiraya business, how has the journey been? Thabo should follow me on all my platforms. Oakansa Alfred on Facebook, the business page. Oakansa Alfred, YouTube, TikTok, on all social media platforms really. I think there are segments shot last year talking about how the journey started. Alternatively, Thabo, please go to www.oakansalfred.com, the website where you will get all your answers. My portfolio is in there, and the videos that will tell you about my long journey. I have over 12 years of experience under this belt, so yeah, please do check it out. And how has the journey been? I would say challenging, yet very rewarding. I'm always on my toes, and you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. Thabo's second question is, lastly, would you advise one to get into the property business? Is the market still open like before? This is a bit of a difficult question to answer because business is about innovation, and essentially entrepreneurship is innovation. So there is always some sort of space, or the market is always open for anybody who's very creative, and they can come up with new ideas within the same industry. Times are always changing and things are forever changing. In 10 years, things won't be the same. So really, any business is lucrative depending on what you bring to the table. Is there anything you're bringing? Is there a customer base that wants to hear or use your services or your products? So yeah, it just depends on your creativity. We have Kid KG on Facebook asking, online shopping is replacing in-store shopping, but developers keep building large-scale malls for retail spaces. Can't they see that in the future no one will be interested in renting those spaces? I think this is more of a rhetorical question. He seems very adamant. KG, you sound like you are dead sure about what your opinion is, and you don't need any convincing from me, but rather you're putting out your opinion, and I completely get your perspective. I mean, the world is going digital. The question for us in the third world countries is at what pace? I don't know. We do have some online stores locally, but I still see malls fully packed. In fact, in December, there was no parking go airport junction. So I guess that means people still want to go and try clothes. Personally, as a woman, I could never get tired of trying on new clothes. Whether I buy them, that's a whole other story. So yeah, I think as time progresses, we will catch on to the first world countries, and we will see less malls being built. But yeah, if you see people investing, there must be business in that sector. Moving on, he also says, what will those malls turn into when e-commerce completely replaces brick and mortar stores? Well, the interesting thing about business is that business is about problem solving. So what you're saying essentially is that in the future we are going to find ourselves with having this problem of malls which are redundant, and then that will give opportunity to creative business people, entrepreneurs, to come up with new systems of how those spaces can still be utilized. And like they say, be the first or be the best, and we'll see people definitely becoming creative with those spaces. It's just one of those things with entrepreneurship and with business. We have to think out of the box and see opportunity where a consumer sees a problem. Choose your side. O Arabile Thati Tau on Facebook says, when purchasing a property, which is more lucrative between size and or location? This one for me is a no-brainer. Last year there were segments when we touched on the key elements in buying property, and yes, size and location were a part of it, but majorly they do say property is about location, location, location. I've never heard of size, 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 but they always say location, location, location. I'll give an example. You build a huge house in the outskirts where the valuation of the property will be low, versus you build a small condo apartment in an area of high value. The person who has more value in the end will be the one who is in the better placed location. People want accessibility to amenities, which is why I think abroad, with countries like in America, New York, and all of that, they have condos and all of that. So 2-bed at I Towers, how much are you buying it for? Versus a 6-7 bedroomed house in Takatokwane. So yeah, for me, always location, location, location. I hope that answers you. Owarabile goes on to say, which is more lucrative between build to rent and build to sell? This is more your objective. What do you want to achieve? What is your definition of lucrative? Building for rental is more of an investment strategy. It's not a cash flow building technique. So you have to choose, what is your goal? Are you looking to own property and have it generate income for a certain number of years or infinity? Or are you looking to make small, quick returns and move on into the next? This is all about your strategy. And if I may tell you, part of what we do in consultancy is you come in with your specific problem, and we are able to tailor it for the objective which you are trying to achieve. So please do come in and pay for more details. I'll move on to Onalena Malu Chebani on Facebook. First question, which course is good for valuation? I'm not a valuer by profession, but I have on my team a very experienced valuer. I think over a decade of experience, and he went to Baisaho, and also I guess institutions like the University of Botswana have valuers all over the world. Really, as long as it's a accredited course, you should be safe. So good, I guess for me, I would measure it with accreditation. Yeah, so feel free to shop around the schools, and yeah, the schools also feel free to reach out for me to single out your school and say it's the good one. Her second question is, can one be allowed to be an agent in Botswana without the right qualifications? And the answer is simply no. Don't do it. Don't try it. Or you'll find yourself in hot waters. And as well, regulated industries, you have to be registered. There's RIAC and REB and all of that. So do follow the processes. Go to school, take up courses. There's certificates in specific schools that you can take up, and within the year you've completed, and then you can sit for the exam. But we will elaborate further. Hopefully one day we will have them on this platform as the regulating bodies, and they will be able to give it to you straight from the horse's mouth. They have a third question as well, which is, what is needed for subdivision of land, and how long does it take? The laws and policies about land and how things are carried out keeps changing. You see right now that there has been a change in terms of tribal land, which is the one that is usually being divided. So it's hard for me to give a concrete answer on what is needed by for the subdivision of land, because it keeps on changing, and there are probably changes at the moment pertaining to subdivision of land. So it's one that you need to always research. You can go to the nearest land board, or we can do the trip for you if you, of course, pay us a small fee. Good to go. Shaida Filman on Facebook. I hope I said your name right. Hi, Shah. She asks, is property really a profitable business when you are looking at long-term plans? It's a short-term. The profitability of a property business can vary widely depending on a lot of factors. I mean, the political landscape. If you please have time, go on to the YouTube, the TikTok videos, Facebook. We had segments last year when we were touching on issues that influence prices and demand when it comes to land and pricing or business in real estate. So that should be able to help you understand all the factors that affect the property business. Long term, short plan, long term, then next thing, the country has some political instability, then what happens? So it's really hard. Tomorrow you can wake up and hear that the interest rate of financing has gone up or down, inflation and all of that, and those things affect profitability of businesses and viability of businesses. So it's a hard one, but bear in mind that for centuries people have been investing in property for the longest time. I mean, it's property, real estate is as long as human beings have been, because there is a continuous need for shelter. So success in the property business does, however, require careful consideration, planning, and navigation. I'm gonna move on to Lucika Satom on Facebook. NRA, why do most developers build houses with the same architectural designs? Are there contemporary designs we see in the Western world not profitable? So I think it's are the contemporary designs we see in the Western world not profitable? Well, look, I mean, there are a lot of factors that you consider when you take out a venture to develop for somebody else who is not present at the time of your construction. One, you don't really know your customer, so you cannot really, well, you can, but you try to play it safe. You want the house to appeal to a majority of people. Well and good, contemporary might be attractive for a certain demographic, youth or whoever, but at the end of the day, where is the money? Who has the purchasing power? And the person who is your target market, what kind of housing are they looking for? So when you are building for somebody who's not present, you have to be as neutral as you possibly can and play it safe. This is not to say there's no room for risk takers who can go the contemporary route. I mean, who knows? It might be profitable. Maybe there are a lot of young people who want to see trendy designs. So maybe that's something to think about. And if Lucica is looking to be different, let's see you take that risk with your money, and hopefully it could be a success story, or it could be one of the other, an epic fail. So yeah, this is a good one for risk takers. The next questions are from Mike Modric. Mike, you should have just really scheduled a whole consultation. I mean, Mike has sent me, I think, 5 questions, and at the end of it, he promises me that if I answer them, he'll pay for a consultation. Mike is a tricky guy. So, Mike Modric, let's get on with it. What's the normal turnaround time when you buy land from owners prior to your development? There's no turnaround time, hence it can vary depending on different factors. Majorly dependent on cooperation from the buyer and the seller and other legal aspects involved in with the said property. One thing I've learned about each property is that each property is very unique. It's got its own issues, it's got its own complexities. So with some properties, you could simply identify a property right now and shoo, 2 hours later it's yours and you signed it off and it's as good as done. So it's hard to put a time factor on how long it could actually take to identify and purchase land. Identifying land also is dependent on how well connected you are with your agents. But I mean, for Mike Modric and the rest of people out there, because you are friends with Alfred of Lesedi property developers, you are privy to any land that is available or property that is available quick, fast on all our platforms. Lesedi property developers on Facebook, best agents. So we should be able to assist you so that you get the best turnaround time. I'm gonna move on to the second question out of 5 from Mike. He says, if one has rental property that's debt free, would you advise that they value, sell, and use proceeds to buy land, develop, and sell as you did in 2011 for best cash flow than rely on rental income instead? Well, there are various factors that you should consider before selling property for further investment in the same sector. For example, you should conduct market research, risk assessment, and all of that. I mean, I cannot sit here and say, Mike, do the same thing that I did in 2011. The landscape has completely changed, and tomorrow we don't even know what the future looks like. You could just literally wake up in the morning with property, find yourself hit by a natural disaster, and all the properties that are on the market are worth next to nothing. So it's really one of those things that if you come into our office, my office, for a consultation, a consultancy, pay as little as just 1,000. The information you walk away with is much more valuable than that 1,000. Then we will be able to assess together, looking at the property that you own, the rental that it's generating, if it's worth keeping, or if it's worth you just selling and building, and also just help you assess what the market's appetite is for in terms of rent. Okay, I think I can move on to your third question. He says, which are hot property zones in Gab's area for selling? That's if one wishes to venture into property development. I feel one of the things that I always notice is that people fail to understand that property is very broad. Hey, it's very broad. It's a residential property, it's warehousing, commercial, it's offices, it's literally everything is built on brick and mortar. It's built on buildings. So even in terms of hot property zoning, it depends with each and every sector. I mean, we saw with the rise of the buildings at the CBD, a lot of offices within Gaborone still lost a lot of tenants to the central business district, and I think that has obviously negatively affected the rental prices outside of the central business district area, considering that everyone wants to be in the center. But we cannot say the same for residential. I mean, with residential, it's different. You can find that there is demand for specific areas just because kanya of affordability, isn't that what they say? You know, what are you just keeping to what you can afford, and this is the best that you can do. So yeah, if you were to give me specific areas and you ask me if one is better than the other in a specific property business and the type of model that you want to pursue, then I would probably be able to answer that. But for us to speak your specifics, of course, you'd have to just walk in for as little as 1,000 pula, and you'll be set. Modric's fourth question is, how long does it take to acquire land, that is buy, change ownership before you can commence development? I think this question is addressed in one of our segments when it comes to land ownership and land turner. We had a lawyer in house, as I hope you've watched that segment, and he was telling us and advising us on the 3 land turners available in Botswana and all that different processes. So I mean, the amount of effort that is needed to get a property and change ownership in Gaborone versus in a further away place will obviously be different, even in terms of the type of property. So it's a difficult question to answer. Acquiring land, again, depends on how well connected you are with agents who deal with land. And yes, like I said, contact Lesedi Lebone for more. Yeah. And there's another question. He says, land acquisition is a complex, what did I miss? Oh, how long does it take to acquire land? No, I think we've done this one. I think this should be it from Mike, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, he has more. He's a man of many words. Mike, Can someone excel into real estate even without studying for it and getting registered? Well, with determination and the right attitude, anything is possible. I mean, getting registered is important unless you devise a business model that will help you to operate your business within the legal framework and the legal confines. So, whilst it's very important to always stick to the laws of the jungle. So, yeah, we're sticking to the laws of the jungle, but knowing that we can definitely excel. So this concludes the segment for the question and answers. I look forward to getting more questions from you, and I definitely know you'll send them through. I haven't been able to go through all the questions, and promise as soon as possible I will definitely attend to each and every one of you's questions. And please do look out for another edition of the question answer segment. It's more or less like a free consultation or somewhat. So yes, thank you for following the pages Akansa Alfred, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and not Instagram. Are we on Instagram? Definitely, we are on every social media platform. Yes, and LinkedIn. So thank you for following. Keep following, and let's engage. Let's both learn. Hashtag strive for impact. Thank you. Ciao.